you'll see it on YouTube and Facebook and places like this, where someone will say, if you memorize these words and use these words, you'll get a high score. This is not true. You need to use these words effectively. You need to use these words appropriately. Just putting them into a sentence doesn't mean that you're doing anything correctly. Artificial intelligence to drive vehicles is getting more trendy in the world of advancement. So again, they're trying to use this word trendy. Trendy is not really appropriate. You use the word trendy to talk about fashion or to talk about trends in the world. You wouldn't really talk about it in this context. So these are examples of words that students are using because they think that it will impress the examiner, but they don't know enough about these words. They don't know the meaning. They don't know the context. They don't know the use. They don't know the collocations. They don't know how to use them in a sentence, basically. Don't use words you don't understand. Recently, automobiles are driven by robotics. So, robotics kind of related to artificial intelligence. You can have a robot that has artificial intelligence, but most robots don't have artificial intelligence. Robotics is not really precise enough in this context. So don't think about what word kind of means the same. You need to use words that mean exactly the same. Cars are driven with man-made techniques or functions. Again, this isn't really that accurate. You need or that appropriate. Again, four-wheelers. Four-wheelers, all right, I know what you mean. I know you mean a car, but you would never call a car a four-wheeler. Like, I would never say, I'm thinking of getting a new four-wheeler. You would say a car. Car is a car. Like, keep it simple. In modern life, self-driving cars are popular to transportation. So you'll see a lot of people trying to change the wording and change the vocabulary, but you need to remember that the grammar needs to be correct as well. Grammar is 25% of your total mark. Motorized cars controlled by artificial intelligence can be seen in modern days. Again, it's just small grammar errors can add up. If every single one of your sentences or most of your sentences have small grammar errors, even though you think they're just small ones like, punctuation mistakes or article mistakes or preposition mistakes, these add up and these can lower your score. Again, have a look at this. The artificial intelligence based on car driving is getting increased popularity in many countries these days. Again, just small grammar errors, but they will add up. Same with this person. This person needs to work on articles to make a computer software, way as the intelligent human. But the really great thing about this person is their main problem is just articles. So your main problem could just be one area of grammar, or maybe two areas of grammar, maybe like punctuation and verb tenses, or prepositions and articles. So this is great for this person because they know what to focus on, and they know that they can, improve that area by giving it their time and their focus. So let's look again at the paraphrasing checklist. Does the sentence mean the same as the question? Are there any vocabulary errors? And is the sentence grammatically correct? So apply that to your own sample that you have posted and corrected, and it will help you. So let's look at some good student examples. In recent times, it is not uncommon to see automobiles being driven by artificial intelligence. So does it mean the same? Yes. Are there any grammar errors or vocabulary errors? No. Good. Doesn't need to be fancy. Doesn't need to be showing off how amazing you are. Just needs to be effective. So now you need to write your outline. So here's a checklist for your outline. Did you clearly answer both questions? Are your ideas relevant and specific? And are there any linguistic errors? So let's have a look at this and tell me what the problem is. So have a look at it, pause the video, and think about what the problem is with this one. So the problem with this one is there's just way too much detail. You don't need to give this much detail. You need to be getting to the point. You put the detail in your main body paragraph. The introduction is really just introducing them to what is going on. You're not adding in all this detail. So again, have a look at this one and tell me what you think the main problem is. So pause the video and have a look and think about the main problem. So the main problem is there's way too many ideas. There should be two paragraphs, two main body paragraphs. Each paragraph is going to have one main idea, so you're going to have two main ideas, not more than that. So again, have a look. What's the problem? Again, too many ideas. Your introduction needs to match up with the rest of your essay. So you can't have, 3, 4, 5 main ideas in your introduction and then only 2 in your main body. That's the way it should be. So the main problem here is it's difficult to understand. Remember the purpose of writing. The purpose of writing is to convey a message to the reader. The person reading it needs to understand it. If they can't understand it, then there was no point in writing it in the first place. What's the problem here? Pause the video and think about it. So, problem here is it's way too vague. You do need 2 specific ideas. The purpose of the outline sentence is to give 2 ideas, so they should be specific. So let's look at a good student example. This is done in order to reduce costs associated with employees in the transport sector. So very specific, clear, easy to understand idea, and should certainly be seen as a negative development as it will reduce jobs available for the population. So again, clear, easy to understand, 2 main ideas that are clear. It's not perfect, it is a student example, but it's much better than 90% of other answers. Here's another one. Artificial intelligence increasingly plays a role in driving vehicles. Good paraphrase. This is due to advancement in technology, and it should be seen as a positive development because it reduces the chances of road traffic accidents. Again, not perfect, but very, very, very good. Let's have a look at one of our VIP students who I was teaching, and they provided this one. Recently, self-driving cars have become increasingly common. This is because AI has reached a point where it can safely control a vehicle, and this should be viewed positively due to the reduction in traffic accidents. So the good thing to remember here is this student was in the exact same position as you were. They didn't know how to paraphrase, they didn't know how to use vocabulary and grammar effectively, they didn't know how to outline anything, they didn't know anything. And we were able to take them through, show them exactly what to do, and this just proves that anybody can learn this. So apply that to your own work, apply what you've learned today, and you will really, really see an improvement. And then move on to video 3, which is showing you how to write a main body paragraph. So welcome to lesson 2 of IELTS Essay Builder. So in lesson 1 we looked at how to write an introduction, and now we're going to look at the next building block of your essay, how to build your main body paragraph. So what are we going to look at today? We're going to look at how to use our introduction as the foundation for the rest of your essay. So it's as I said on Monday, the introduction serves as kind of like a mini plan for you. So we're going to talk about that and how you can use your introduction to start writing your main body paragraphs. And then we're going to get into main body paragraphs. We're going to look at the essential elements. We're going to look at topic sentences, explanations, examples. We're going to look at how you write these, show you examples of how to write these. And then we're going to finish off with our homework task. So just a reminder, guys, we're focusing on just one type of task 2 essay. Please just remember this. You can't just look at all of the stuff that we've done this week and then hope that you're lucky on test day and that you'll get a double question. It doesn't work like that. Also, as I already said, the double questions, a lot of the stuff does translate to these other types of questions, but I would look into these. You have to study these properly. Many of you have been emailing me and messaging me and saying, can you just give us some quick tips or quick structures for the other types of essay? That's kind of like saying, at the end of your driving test, can you give me some quick tips on how to ride a motorbike or how to fly a plane or how to drive a train? Quick tips and shortcuts don't work. You need to go into things on a very, very deep level, which is what we're doing with double questions this week. Okay, so let's remind ourselves about the 4-paragraph structure for double questions. Introduction, which we've already done. Then our first main body paragraph, which is going to answer the first question. Then our second main body paragraph, which is going to answer our second question, and then our conclusion. So let's review lesson 1 a little bit. Let's look at the introduction and the question that we wrote, because this is very, very important that we understand how we use the introduction to then write our main body paragraph. So this was the question that we were using. Nowadays, more tasks at home and work are being performed by robots. Why do you think this is happening? Is it a positive or negative development? So the introduction that I showed you was robotics increasingly play a role both in the home and the workplace. This is due to advancements in technology, and it should be seen as a positive development because it reduces a person's workload. So this is the question that we're going to use today, and this is the introduction that we're going to use today, and we're going to use this introduction as like a mini plan that's going to help us write our main body paragraphs. So how does that work? So if we break it down, the bit in red here is our paraphrase, and then the two bits here, these are our two main ideas. So this is going to be paragraph number 1, main body paragraph number 1, due to advancements in technology. And then paragraph number 2 is going to be about this one. So as you can see, our main body 1 is going to be our first main idea. This is occurring because of advancements in technology. And main body 2 is going to be about this idea. And it should be seen as a positive development because it reduces a person's workload. So this acts as both a help to the reader, because the reader knows exactly what is coming up in the main body. They know exactly what this essay is about. You've introduced them to these topics. And then you're going to take these ideas and you're going to develop them in your main body. Okay, so let's look at what is a main body paragraph, because it became very clear during Monday's lesson that many of you didn't really understand what an introduction was and what it was supposed to be. Many of you have huge misconceptions about the test, especially the writing test. So much of this course is really just removing those misconceptions and teaching you exactly what you're supposed to be doing and the principles, the fundamentals of what you're supposed to be doing. So this is the most important part of your essay. Think of it as the meat in the hamburger. Imagine getting a hamburger and going into McDonald's and getting a hamburger and only the bread or the bun comes out. You wouldn't be very happy. That actually happened to me in Vietnam, in McDonald's in Vietnam before. And I certainly wasn't very happy. And this doesn't mean that the introduction and the conclusion are not important, but the main body paragraph is the most important part. This is where you'll make your detailed argument. This is where you will prove your point. So before I was an English teacher, I used to be a lawyer, and what we would do is we would go to court and we would argue. And an argument, a legal argument, is not like an argument where two people are shouting at each other. It's two people, two lawyers trying to prove their case, trying to prove their point. So think of your main body paragraphs is where you will do this. It's where you will explain why your points are valid and support those points with examples to help you prove what you are trying to write about or what you're trying to say in your essay. So this is where you set out your main points and develop them fully. All right. One of the hallmarks, or one of the ways that the examiners will know if you know what you're doing, or whether you should get, one of the high marks, one of the 7s, the 8s, and the 9s, is whether you fully developed your points. So you haven't just listed as many different ideas as you can. What you've done is you've taken relevant, specific ideas and you fully developed these out. So how do you do that? So there are 3 elements of a main body paragraph, not 3 sentences, 3 elements, all right? 3 things that need to be in your main body paragraph. First thing is a topic sentence. The second thing is an explanation. And a third thing is an example. Every single main body paragraph you should write should have a topic sentence, should have an explanation, and should have an example. If you do that, you're going to write a much better main body paragraph than somebody who, like many of you, what you do when your main body paragraphs is you include like 3 different ideas and no explanations, no examples, no topic sentences, and it's just like, I call it a shopping list main body paragraph. It's just a list of ideas. It's not actually a real paragraph. So now let's look at each of these elements, because once you understand how to write each of these elements, then you can